Hi there, my name is Sarah Knott. I'm an art teacher in Portage, Michigan, and today I'm going to show you how to apply to this year's statewide K12 art exhibition for Michigan Art Education Association. Maybe next year we'll be able to have a physical show together and have a reception and everything. Keep your fingers crossed. With that being said, this application process will stay the same for many years to come. So what I'm about to show you will apply whether we have a physical show or not. First, you're going to want to follow the link that's been provided to you by your region liaison. It's going to take you to a website called Call for Entry, and it's going to take you to a different landing page, which I'll show you in a second. But this is Call for Entry. Many practicing galleries, contemporary exhibition spaces use Call for Entry. Some of you might already have a login. As you may have guessed, you are going to need to create a login for this. So the first thing you're going to do is agree to sign up, and then you can make your profile. And you could, make your username your school email if you'd like. If you have more than one region or district you work in, you could create multiple accounts, one for each school district. If you're not sure which district you might be in from year to year, you could create this using a personal email account. It's totally up to you. They'll ask for some basic demographic information. I won't make you watch me do this part. And then you'll be able to log in when you jump to our entry page. So first you make a login with Call for Entry. When you're ready and you have that login prepared, then you're going to be able to apply to our call. This is the link that your region liaison gave you. And first, I'll show you kind of what to expect. So what information you need to gather. So here's some of our qualifications to enter. I talk a little bit about preparation. Unless your student's work gets accepted, you no longer have to wrap anything or print forms in triplicate, anything like that. Those days are over. Here's some stuff that you're going to need to know about you, your member number, so on and so forth. Some stuff that you'll need to know about your students, their contact information. Some stuff you'll need to know about the student artworks. This is all very similar to the PDF that you're used to filling out for this exhibition. Some notes about which pieces of art will be accepted, and some notes about the awards that will be given from this show. Okay. You'll also notice on the sort of landing page on our MAEA.org website, I have a couple optional printable forms for you. So one to if you want to print something and hand it to a student for them to fill out, for them to write an artist statement or for them to do some of the phone number collection for you. Those are available at our website. They're optional. Okay. So if that's something that's helpful, those are there for you. You can print this page if you want a sort of record of what you need to know about our exhibition. But if you feel like you're ready and you've created a cafe account, you're going to hit apply. And this email that you see me entering now, let's see if I can type and talk, is actually the one that you'll use for questions. So for example, if you can't figure out something, if something's working or not working, or you just need help, you can reach out to us here. It's also listed several other places. Oh, look, I get to find some tractors. Isn't that exciting, guys? Once you've logged into our call, you're going to see this. This is just a note about parental permissions. You have to agree to this before submitting. Parental permissions are necessary for students who are under 18. And a nice change about this year is that you don't have to have parental permissions for every single student artwork, just the ones that get accepted because they'll be displayed at a state level. If your region liaison has asked you for permission for other things, that's because they're hoping to exhibit a regional show online. So if you see another request for permissions from your region liaison, that's why you're getting 2 requests. Later on in the process, we'll have a checkdown box or a checkbox where you'll verify that if you get a student accepted, you agree to get parental permission for them to apply. So here's the actual entry form. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to gather a bunch of information about your students and images of your students' artwork, and then number them 1 through 5. Johnny is 1, Susie is 2, so on and so forth. And we, again, have those helpful printable optional forms if that's something that's of benefit. You're also going to want to make sure, and I'm going to do this right now while you're watching because this is important, you're going to want to make sure that you have a pretty clear title of the images that you're submitting. So, for example, we're going to say that, too many tabs open. We're going to say that I have 2 student works of art that I'm going to be submitting, okay? what you're going to do is you're going to take a second and rename them your last name and then a number. So if Johnny is 1 and Susie is 2, there's my last name and 1, my last name and 2. So I've taken a second to label the files that I'm going to be submitting. Now it's going to be pure data entry. So you're going to go through and put your name, your NAEA, region number, all of the stuff that I showed you on that previous page is here. And then there's chunks for each student info. So if Johnny is 1 and he's got his image saved right there, that's Johnny's image, I'm going to go ahead and put Johnny's info in for number 1. There's 5 slots here. Next year we'll have 6, hopefully. The slots are, if you are submitting from a regional show, you will have been told by your region liaison which pieces are moving forward to the state level. If your region chose to skip a show this year and you didn't hear about an exhibition, you'll be able to enter at least two pieces, for each grade level you teach. So there should be 6 slots, but we're working on it. So for example, if I did not have a region show and I teach K12, I could submit 2 elementary, 2 middle, and a high school entries. Okay. If I did have a regional show and my region liaison, let's say I teach high school, my region liaison moved forward 2 of my high school pieces, then I'm only going to have to fill out student number 1, student number 2, Johnny and Susie. Okay. So this is all the same demographic info. You'll notice there's a little less than we used to have to collect because things are so much easier when it's digital. So really just parent, guardian name and email, and then the student contact information. For each student, there's a slot where you're going to be able to copy and paste or, transcribe or whatever you've chosen to do, where you're going to be able to insert a student artist statement. So there's a spot for artist statement for each work of art that you're submitting. Here's that legal agreement again. You're going to submit by agreeing to our terms. At the bottom, we have a couple little notes for you here. I'm going to go over these because they're one of the few things that's not mentioned on that landing page that you see. So you just saw me do this step. You saw me title things with my last name and then the number of the student. Then you'll notice there's a description field for each file that you're going to upload, and I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like in a second. If you would, please put your student's name into that description field. Okay, so I'm going to go over that more in a second, but these are kind of like the 2 sort of tracking things that we're asking you guys to do this year in replacement of yards and yards of acetate and masking tape. And I want to throw out there too, the next page that you're going to go to is going to ask for a couple of pieces of information that you can actually kind of skip. So you don't need to provide a price, just put NA for your students' prices of their artwork. You don't have to provide specific dimensions this year. You can just put NA, or you can give us a really loose estimate. Those 2 things are not quite as important. This save button works for both incomplete applications and complete applications. So if you have student number 1's info and forgot to get student number 2, you can save the application halfway through and come back when you have student number 2's info, for example. So the second portion of this is adding images to that portfolio, and it's pretty easy to find. It's this link right at the top that says My Portfolio. The idea here is that if there's maybe another regional children's show, or if there's a regional show for you that you want to apply to, you could use these images to stick both your kids' art in this show and in the MAEA show. I think that's why Cafe does this for practicing artists. When I'm ready, I'm going to upload my image. You can this year upload video files, which is exciting for our animators. I'm going to choose Johnny's artwork, and I'm going to show you the process of uploading that piece. So first, I verify that I've put my last name and the number that I've assigned Johnny as the image title. And then I'm going to start going through and putting some of the demographic information that Johnny has given me. And I mentioned that you can disregard the specific measurements this year. So if you want to just put a whatever number in those, you can. We're not worried about it since the show is digital. You can put NA for price, of course. These last couple of fields that are not bolded, they're not required. But as I mentioned a moment ago, we are going to put have you put your student's name. We're going to say that his name is Johnny Brown. We're going to have you put your student's name in the description. So a second ago, I mentioned the description field. This is what I'm talking about. Whoops. Looks like it wants a number. There we go. I've added this image to my portfolio. That's awesome. So now that I've got images uploaded to my portfolio, we're going to pretend that I have a couple other things done. We're going to pretend that I have these fields in bold, so at least my info and student one's info. We're going to agree to our legal terms. We're going to select at least one work of art from our portfolio. So this is Johnny's art. And then we're going to hit not like the save and keep working button, like I have student one's info, but not student two. But we're going to hit the save application button. And once we hit that save application button, we tell it what grade level Johnny is in. And then we're ready to submit. Okay. If you have any last minute info you need to gather, you can do so now. Don't be alarmed how this says checkout. It's just how the website is structured. As you can see, there's no cost. Once you hit this submit entry button, you have submitted your artwork. So that's this year's digital submission process. Thank you all so much for your patience. Feel free to email this email that I mentioned before with questions. Again, I'm Sarah. I'm at the other end of that email. I know this is hard. It's one more online platform, but we're really hopeful that the payout for this and the ease of not having to transport things physically from place to place will outweigh the troubles of learning sort of a new online software platform. Thank you so much for your willingness to participate, and thank you for all that you do for visual art and students in the state of Michigan.